You're right, you know. It's the kids, the way they are. They don't listen. I've got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I saw him. I was so ashamed. I told him right out, I'm gonna make a man out of you, or I'm gonna bust you up into little pieces trying. Punch me in the face when he was 15. He's big, you know. Haven't seen him in the last 3 years. Rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out then. Alright. Let's get on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he is a product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home. We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know it. So do you. The children who come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said it there. I don't want any part of them. Believe me.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Now wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me.
Now let's be reasonable. There's nothing.
There is something personal.
Come on now, fella. What are you getting all upset for? He didn't mean you.
Who did he mean?
I can understand the sensitivity. Now let's stop the bickering.
We're wasting time here.
It's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow, I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
While it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the kid, still, I agree with you. The defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is a point.
what about facts?
So many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife that fine, upright kid admitted buying.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and take a look at it. I'd like to see it again, Mr. Foreman.
I don't see any need to see it again. We've already seen it so many times.
She has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Fine then.
This knife, it's a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
Well, then let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father. Or punched.
He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day after he admitted selling it to the boy.
It's a pretty unusual knife. You have to admit, it's hard to forget something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife and said it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. Now, why did the boy get it?
For a friend of his, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right.
Next, he claims that on the way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket, that he never saw it again. Now, there's a story, jurors. You know what actually happened. He took the knife home, and a few hours later, he stabbed his father with it. He even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case identified the knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street, went to the boy's house, and stabbed his father with it, just to be amusing?
No. I'm saying it's possible that the boy lost the knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Take a look at the knife. It's a very strange knife, and I've never seen one like it before. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to him. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make you accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible. What you trying to do?
Yeah, what's this? Who do you think you are?
Look at it, it's the same knife.
Quiet! Let's be quiet!
Where did you get it?
I got it in a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
Now, you listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely nothing. Maybe there are 10 knives like that. So what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied, and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife, and maybe he did go to the movies. maybe the reason that the cashier didn't see him was because he sneaked into the movies and he was ashamed to say so. Is there anybody here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young?
I didn't.
Really? Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
Well, maybe he did go to the movies, maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. Do you think he lied?
Now that's a stupid question. Sure he lied.
What about you?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Now wait a second. What are you, the guy's lawyer? Listen, there are 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. What do you think you can accomplish? If you want to be stubborn and hang the jury, he'll be tried again and found guilty sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So what are you going to do about it? We can be here all night.
It's only one night. A man may die.
Come on.
Well, yes, that's true.
I think we ought to get on with it now.
Yeah, let's. Well, how do you like this guy? Well, what do you say? You're the one holding up the show.
Obviously, you don't think the guy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't really presented anything to us that makes it possible for us to understand it out. There's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the kid shriek it out.
The woman across the L tracks. She saw it.
We know the kid bought the knife, but we don't know where he was. At the movies?
Earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way. And while that doesn't prove anything,
Still, you know.
I've got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 jurors to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there are still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict right now.
That sounds fair. Everyone agreed.
I certainly am.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. 6 guilty. 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 Not guilty.
Well, how do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have the right to know.
All right. Who did it? What idiot changed his vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of the dead man or the life of the murderer?
I want to know. Who?
So do I.
This was a secret ballot.
No one looked while you did it, but now I want to know.
A secret ballot. We agreed on that point. No? If the juror wants to remain a secret...
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. All right, I know who it was. You come in here and you were guilty, and then this slick preacher starts tearing your heart out with stories about an innocent boy who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. And then you were not guilty. And if that isn't the most
Now
sickening...
hold it.
I agree with you that the man is guilty. But let's be fair.
Hold it? Be fair? That's just what I'm trying to do. Put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs. But now we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Now just a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Let's try to keep this organized, jurors.
Let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you, what made you change your vote?
Why do you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There is nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
I was going to tell you, but you were so sure of yourself.
Sorry. Okay, now,
Maybe you'd like to know why.
let me tell you why I kicked up.
The man wants to talk. Thank you. This juror chose to stand alone against us. That's her right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. She left the verdict up to us. She gambled for support and I gave it to her. I want to hear more. The vote is 10-2. Now, if the speech is over, let's go.
If there was anything in the kid's favor, I vote not guilty.
I don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as the kid. That's the kid, I suppose.
They haven't come. There's one juror that's holding out, but she'll come around. She's got to. And fundamentally, she's a very reasonable woman.
I guess so.
They haven't come up with one real fact yet to back up a not guilty verdict.
It's hard, you know.
Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean?
What's a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. When a life is at stake, what is a reasonable doubt? You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone will start knifing people.
Well, not much doubt here.
Two jurors think so. I wonder why. I really wonder why.
You do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail or death sometimes. Then years later things turn up.
And then on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and they go and do it again. They squeeze out on some technicality and kill again.
Look, supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I know, we are supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We are not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
I suppose, but who else had a motive?
The boy's father was along in years. Maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a very important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer. Look, supposing you tell us what your reasonable doubts are.
So far, it's just a feeling. A feeling you won't understand.
No, I don't.
A feeling? What are we going to do? Spend the night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you," and heard the father's body hit the floor a second later. And then he saw the kid running downstairs and out of the house 15 seconds later.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right. And let's not forget the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and she saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
Well, now, what have you got to say about that?
It's not enough for me.
What is enough for you? I'd like to know.
How do you like her? It's like talking into a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a passing L train. The L train had 5 cars and she saw it through the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant details.
If that's not enough for you,
It doesn't seem right to me.
supposing you think about it. Lend me a pencil, will you? Let's play some tic-tac-toe. Might as well pass the time.